I have got a major transfer dilemma here in January. I didn't think that something like this would happen. I didn't think I'd have to think about it this hard. But Ruslan Malinovsky has had a bid of £20 million made for him by Wolves. He's been trying to force a move away from the club. He wants to leave for a new contract. He's asking for a ridiculous sum of money, to be honest, especially for a player who so far this year has 1 goal, 3 assists, and has only started 6 games in the league at the halfway point. He really hasn't played that much for us. He's not wowed me. When you look at his attributes, he should be fantastic, and he's just not been. And yet, at the same time, there's something telling me that it could be a mistake to sell him. Now, whether or not that's just fair, I don't know. I've accepted £20 million. I need your counsel. So please let me know in the comments. Would you be selling him? Am I losing my mind? Whilst he's a set-piece weapon, we have other players who can do that job in our team. And I just feel like at 28 years old, with his wage demands, with 18 months left on his contract, it probably is not a bad time to cash in on him. I've said all of this, and I feel like I should be letting him go, and yet I still don't know. How's it going, folks, and welcome back to the Atalanta rebuild. This is episode number 4. We are in the January transfer window. Malinovsky potentially on his way out of the door, but besides him leaving, there's been other stuff going on. We've been busy in the transfer window. We'll talk about that first, then the game since you were last here. Today's match, by the way, it's a biggie. We're taking on Roma away from home. They've already sacked Jose Mourinho. They've brought in Bielsa, and we're going to be butting heads with him. 2 of the finest minds in the world of football management. Well, Mourinho and Bielsa, not me. So I mentioned transfers. There's been a lot more on the outs than on the ins. I felt like over the course of the last 6 months, we've had a chance to get to know our squad, a chance to find out who's maybe surplus to requirements, especially with no European campaign this year. We don't need the deepest squad, I suppose. As a result of that, a couple of players who I didn't really make use of leaving. The first is Jeremy Boga. He is leaving to go to Aston Villa. You can see here, we've sold him for 6.5 million. In real life, he spent the second half of last season on loan at Atalanta. They've signed him permanently in the summer. I gave him some minutes. In fact, I gave him 2 starts. It wasn't that much of a chance, really. He didn't impress me. He's not really my kind of player. And at 25 years old, relying on his physicals so much whilst being injury prone, and also being on rather large wages and wanting more money, I decided to kick him out onto the streets. There was a queue of Premier League clubs lining up. Unfortunately, none offering silly money. In the end, 6.5 million to Villa for a player who's not really been in our first team. Didn't seem terrible. I look at it now and I see his value, and I'm feeling like maybe I should have asked for more. Another player that left us was Sam Lammers. He has gone to Everton. He was our 5th choice striker. He's okay. He's a slightly worse version of Xerxes, really. Picked up for £9 million by Atalanta. Played just the 1 appearance for us on off the bench. And in the end, I sold him for 2.5 million. That mostly because I kind of had a replacement already eyed up. Elsewhere on the outs, the only other player of real significance to leave us was Sportiello. He is a 29-year-old player. He's been at Atalanta for the vast majority of his career. He was 3rd choice goalkeeper. He wanted to leave to play first team football. I couldn't give him it, and in the end, his kind of low value meant that we could only get £2.1 million from Lazio. Not a crazy sum of money, not a terrible sum of money. The goalkeeping area, an area where we do have some depth. So as I just mentioned, Lammers left the club for 2.5 million, and I already was eyeing up a replacement at that point. We made a move for him. It is Eddie Salcedo, a man who may be, well known by a lot of you Football Manager players over the past few years. He has been playing for Inter Milan. However, first half of the season, did not make a single first team appearance for them. He was very much on the fringes. He had requested to leave the club. We have snapped him up for 5.5 million. Transfer listed by request. We swooped in ahead of all the other teams. And ultimately, we have signed a 20-year-old young Italian prospect with a load of potential, perfectionist personality, some really nice player traits, certainly a well-rounded player without any kind of super standout element to his game, but as a kind of 4th/5th choice striker for us, I just think it's a really good bit of business. The other player we've snapped up in January, another youngster for the future, this one much younger. Wisdom Ame, 16 years old. We signed him from, as you can see here, Bologna for 800k. He hasn't played for their first team. A player who I've seen pop up in a few FM saves this year and be absolutely amazing. And I mean, when you look at him, you can kind of see why. His physicals are already absolutely great for a 16-year-old. His major kind of weakness in his game is his defensive positioning. Unlike something like tackling that can't be trained, trained. We are going to be focusing in training on his defensive positioning, looking to address that lackluster marking and positioning. And ultimately, I think he's going to be a really good long-term player. For less than £1 million, he adds to a growing contingent of young Italian talent. Now, speaking of young Italian talent, with a few extra players leaving, I have made the decision to promote some youngsters to the first team. The first of which is Salvatore Esposito, a player that we did sign in the summer, spent the first half of it, kind of the year, playing with the under-20s. As you can see here, he's made a handful of appearances for us now. I say a handful, 2. How many appearances can you fit in a hand? Answers on a postcard. What does that expression even mean? A handful? Does it just mean 5 because you've got 5 fingers? I don't even know. Either way, Esposito is going to act as a bit of a squad depth player for us, and the other man we promoted to the first team, someone who I'm very excited about, is Scalvini here. 18 years old, fantastic Italian centre-back, capped for the under-21s, great player traits as well for a wide centre-back, has already improved a fair bit in the very, very early stages of this save game. Very, very excited to see him in. Been trying to give him the odd appearance on off the bench. Of course, in our league, you are allowed 12 players on the bench. 5 of them can come on as subs. It opens up great opportunities to rotate the team and give these kind of players minutes. Yeah, don't be too surprised if Scalvini is kind of featuring in the first team come next season. One other youngster I do want to mention, he's not as young as the other 2 players, but he is still on the younger side of things, 21 years old, Marco Konieski. I don't know if I've said that correctly. Answers on a postcard. We might just call him Marco. Then you can all write Polo in the chat. Algorithm Jack will love that. Either way, this guy is 21 years old, professional personality, capped for the Italian under-21s, and whilst I don't necessarily think he's quite on the level of Musso yet, given the fact he is 21, he has a lot of potential. He's in the process as well of signing a new deal. I feel like this prospect could be amazing. Would it be foolish to start giving him some first-team appearances this year? I'll be honest, the temptation is there. All in all, though, I feel like when you look at the squad depth now, we've got so many more young players in this squad than there were previously. A lot of new additions we've signed, definitely bolstering that aspect of our squad. The older players slowly being phased out. This new generation of players we've brought in are here. And in fact, if we just look at the squad depth, I sorted this out just a little bit. It really gives you an idea of where our depth lies. We have good coverage across the pitch in all the different positions within our system. All in all, I feel like right now the squad balance is really, really good. Even if Malinowski leaves us for 20 million, I don't necessarily feel a massive pressure to make an immediate new signing for him. Now, of course, last episode, we had 2 memorable games. If you didn't see them, this is your final warning. You missed a 9-goal thriller. You should go watch it. If you watched it, you remember it. You know that you saw it. It finished 4-5 and we lost to Milan. Since then, we've only lost 1 game. It was against a team who we hammered on the opening game of the season 5-0. I can't help but feel like Udinese wanted a little bit of revenge. But before we talk about that, I suppose we should do stuff in chronological order. The month of December was a packed one. Cremonese finished 2-2. This was disappointing. We fought back from behind. We were 2 goals down. Yes, it was good to get back. But ultimately, they're a team who are currently 19th in the league. They're right down at the bottom. They're predicted to finish bottom. Slipping up against them just wasn't good enough. We did bounce back, however, with a win. It wasn't the most convincing. A 1-goal win against Empoli. In this game, they had some of the worst discipline I've ever seen in a football match. And that was kind of shown when Coop Miners was given an opportunity to score from the penalty spot. We deserved our win. Probably would have liked to see us score a goal or 2 more. Wasn't a particularly good performance by our team. So after that last game, I was nervous going into the next one, knowing that we were taking on Verona, who have been a big overperformer this year. Predicted to finish down in mid-table. They have been as high as 4th. So when they took the lead in this game, I was worried. I knew that we had Sampdoria to take on in the next week as well. So it was lingering in my mind the fact we needed to get something here. In the end, Koita helped us out. He got an assist. He crossed it to Raspadori. Koita, this just weird player in our team at this point, I feel like. He came on off the bench in this game. A man who I signed mostly because he's just one of my favourites. And I had 1 good save where he was decent for us. I'll be honest, I totally forgot about the fact there's an international kind of spell where he's away. He's at AFCON today. Yeah, that is a bit unfortunate because he has been a bit of a super sub for us. I think a second ago I said about Sampdoria. I didn't mean Sampdoria. I meant Sassuolo. That was the team we had to take on next. They're a little bit better than Sampdoria. We won this one 3-1. We deserved the win. Good performance. Koita got a goal. DeMarco got a goal. And, well, Koita, to be fair, was a bit of a man of the match, for me at least in this game, although maybe I'm slightly biased. In the end, actually, it was DeMarco who walked away with the man of the match performance. For a man who I was well, lukewarm with, shall we say, after his debut at the club. He has been on a little bit of a redemption tour. The man has 4 player of the matches in 14 games. For a player who's played largely at centre-back, largely at left mid, I mean, it is quite good. Federico, you are actually winning me over. That kind of hurts me to admit as well. And well, our unbeaten run continued through the month of December. We ended the kind of season before the break with a win against Bologna, the halfway point in the season marked with this game. It was a 3-2 win. Wasn't the most convincing. Raspadori and Guerri getting on the score sheet. As I've already mentioned, we came back from the international break and it all just went horribly wrong. We took on Udinese and I'll be honest, you can see the XG for them. You can see the XG for us. You can see the highlights and the chances and all this stuff. I don't really know how we lost. All I can really say is Gerard Deulofeu is overpowered in Football Manager. That is my excuse and I'm sticking with it. Now, oddly enough, we did play Sampdoria most recently. I think that's why they were on my mind earlier. We beat them 2-1. Wasn't the most convincing of performances, although we did have a couple of goals ruled out for various offsides and infringements and stuff. It was a bit of a frustrating day at the office. Ultimately, however, we got a much needed win. I feel like if we dropped points here, I'd be a little bit less happy, I suppose, with where we are. And the nice thing is, with that result, we are still in the top 4 as things stand. And well, a chance here, if we beat Roma, to create a little bit of a cushion between ourselves and the teams in kind of 5th and 6th. If we lose today, Roma go above us and we drop down to 5th, which I really don't want to see. So we're just about at the halfway point in the season now, actually technically slightly beyond it in terms of league games. Really nice to see Raspadori, 4th place in the Golden Boot, running the likes of Lukaku, Vlahovic and Immobile ahead of him. I feel like he's within pretty good company, and to be fair, he has been someone who has developed a hell of a lot since he joined the club, showing some really, really good signs of promise, continuing to play in the Italian national team, although still waiting for his first international goal. I think there's lots of reasons to be optimistic about him. And in fact, if we just look at, well, the training and how players are doing, you can kind of see here, there's just a sea of green. Our young players are developing. Soleil's looked very good recently. Badiashile continuing to develop. Scalvini, I mentioned, the centre-back who's been showing some pretty good promise over the first half of the season, justified being promoted. And even some players that I wasn't necessarily expecting improvement from, the likes of Federico Di Marco and also Pasalic, just continuing to show some good little development. And it leaves me hopeful that we can push towards the Champions League spots this year. So today's game is against Roma. I've already outlined why this is such an important game for us. A win here could put us in a great little position. Eddie Salcedo making his debut, not really by choice. Unfortunately, Guerri is out injured at the moment. He's got a virus, so we've sent him to the club doctor, but he can't play today. Koita is away at AFCON. As a result, we're a little bit light in the striking department, and whilst there was perhaps a temptation to bring in Xerxes, I don't necessarily think he's better than Salcedo. You can see kind of the head-to-head comparison here. And also, as of late, Joshua and his beautiful head of hair haven't been doing very well for us. He's currently on a 6.7 rating for his last 5 appearances. Granted, a lot of them have been on off the bench, but he's not quite been there. I do wonder if now he's maybe dropped down to 5th choice striker. One thing that eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed, I've ditched defensive wingers. We've been scoring a lot of goals, but from a defensive point of view, we've not done nearly enough this year. And in an attempt to try and make this shape work, I've been trying out wide playmakers, or wide midfielders, not wide playmakers, that would be mental. Who plays with wide playmakers? Is that even a role that's still in the game? It is still in the game. Never used it. But no, just to go back to the other point, I've been using wide midfielders recently with the instruction to mark specific positions. The left-sided one will mark anybody who plays the attacking right midfield position. On the left-hand side, obviously, it's the opposite. My hope here is that these kind of extra instructions are going to allow the 2 wider midfielders just to track back a little bit more. This year, I've not had the craziest amount of success with wing-backs in a back 5 in Football Manager. So with that in mind, I kind of want to try and make this shape work. We'll see how it does today. It's not truly been tested against elite opposition, and there's no time like the present. So a big day for Salcedo making his debut. He only joined us during the week, so being thrown in slightly at the deep end. Worth noting, Dybala is playing for Roma alongside the likes of Justin Kluivert and Tammy Abraham. They've got some great attacking talent. Also got to be a little bit wary of Januzaj and just how creative he can be. I'm kind of secretly hoping they are going to be playing a wider system, which it looks like they are going to be because they're playing a 4-4-2. This should allow us just to, see how the wide midfielders with the kind of more I guess, specified marking instructions work for us. All in all, though, I feel like we've got a chance here away from home. This is a pivotal game. If we slip up here, we're in trouble. If we win here, I start to think we're the real deal with, 16 games left of the season after this. Roma looking to play it out from the back, of course. With them playing this kind of 4-4-2, we are going to be asking our wider midfielders to push up and mark tighter. Of course, worth noting that the specific instruction that we have is actually to mark the more attacking wide midfielders. I'm going to change that in just a second, but we'll let this highlight play out first and foremost as well. The put ball there towards Salcedo is overhit. Patricio now going to play it to Karsdorp, who's going to step up and try and bring the ball forward. Looking down the line towards Dybala, but the wide centre-back there read that well and dealt with it. I am a little bit conscious that with the likes of DiMarco and Salcedo playing for us, we are kind of just becoming Inter Milan's B team, which isn't really where I want to be. Where I want to be is competing against them. We're not going to manage that with finishing like that. Raspadori probably should have scored that one-on-one. So as I mentioned, I have got these specific instructions, but I've got them set to apply to attacking midfielders. I kind of wish there was a way to blanket apply it to, just basically whoever the most advanced player is out on the kind of left or right-hand side. I definitely feel like our biggest issue has been against players who play with attacking wide midfielders rather than slightly deeper players. But nevertheless, I do want to see Mail and Hatterborg just try and mark those players a little more closely. Already seen Januzaj on the right-hand side bring it forward once, so I'm wary about that. Worth noting, they are both playing as inverted wingers, so I am expecting them to cut in a lot. I think maybe it's going to be a bit of a team effort between the wider centre-backs and the wide midfielders to deal with things, as Musso is going to deal with that. That was a weird long throw routine that saw no one in the box to do anything with it. We do now have possession, and we're going to see what Musso can do here. Playing it wide to Mail, who nods it into Salcedo. First time seeing him in our colours, and he plays it inside to Pasalic. Really nice play. Back to Salcedo. Only paid £5 million for him. I feel like we've got an absolute bargain. Of course, maybe I'm saying that preemptively. If he does something here, though, I'm going to stick to that statement. Coop Miners plays it to Pasalic, who finds himself through. That is why he's in the team ahead of Malinovsky. It's another goal for him. In real life, he's been a massive goal-scoring threat for Atalanta in the centre of the midfield. And we are seeing that for us here. Really nicely worked. You can see the number 7 of Pasalic just makes this darting run. Salcedo drifts inside, creates a channel of space, and the finish at the end of it, really tidy to give us the lead. Set piece, DiMarco. He's a weapon from these. He's going to put it in towards Pasalic, who nearly got his second. This time, a bit of an unorthodox header at the back post. Unfortunately, the woodwork has denied him. Maybe a corner of our own to deal with here. Ball whipped in towards the back post. Not for the first time this season, we're conceding a set piece. This is becoming a little bit of a concern. I have added some training focus on defending set pieces. Maybe I need to look at the routines a little bit more. It looked like a size mismatch as DiMarco and Coop Miners between them were expected to deal with, Cristante there. And, I'll be honest, they didn't deal with him. And as a result, at the break, it's 1-1. I feel like ordinarily when you play a three at the back, you think of having two meaty centre-backs. But of course, with DiMarco being one of our centre-backs, it's not quite the stereotypical three at the back defensive set-piece setup, I suppose. I feel like that's been exposed. Firstly by Giroud last episode and now today. So all square again. A chance here though on Raspadori. I mean, he could be top goal scorer in the league if he knew how to finish a one-on-one. Unfortunately for us there, he's hit it over. So 10 minutes into the second half, Darun on a booking isn't something we want to see. We're going to bring in Esposito, the youngster, 21 years old. Let's see what he can do for us. Elsewhere, Demiral is on a yellow card. Do not like to see that. I'm going to bring in Soleil out on the right. Worth noting that DiMarco's having a really good game today, as is Coop Miners, and Pasalic, of course, on the score sheet. Always going to have a green rating. So far, Salcedo only on a 6.5. At least for now, I'm going to just leave Xerxes warming up. Not too long left of this game now. There's a temptation to go more attacking, but there is a small part of me feeling like maybe there's a satisfaction from just securing a draw, I suppose, away against Roma. They are a good little team. We beat them 2-1 at home. Away from home, it's always going to be more tricky. And when I say all of that, 1-1 might not be the scoreline we end up with if we continue to defend like that. El Shaarawy brought on for them. On that occasion, hit it straight at Musso, but perhaps a warning shot that, Roma aren't done in this game, that they aren't going to be settling for a 1-1. We might have to keep our wits about us here as Esposito wins the header, gives it to Raspadori. Now, it's back with Raspadori. One-on-one. He's missed a couple. He isn't going to miss this one, though. He tucks it into the bottom corner. It's goal number 15 of the season for the £21 million man. And if there were questions over, could he fill the boots of Zapata? Could he fill the boots of Muriel? I think they've been answered here, because with 10 minutes left, we reinstate our lead. A little bit of fortune, I suppose, with Halvertu's tackle fell to Raspadori, but having squandered a few of those opportunities, good to see him find at the back of the net there. And well, for all that talking I've just done, there's now a kick-off highlight. Maybe we need to be on the back foot. Maybe I should have changed some stuff tactically immediately, because suddenly Roma are bringing it forward. It's Spinazzola giving it inside, though, and giving it away. Salcedo still on the pitch for now. Hasn't had a great game, but still time to redeem himself. Raspadori, the goal scorer, wandering into wide areas. Tries to cross it all the way across. I mean, that is not a great ball, but he has picked out DeMarco. Maybe he saw a pass that no one else did. We still have the ball here, and it's now wide with Hatabor. Options in the middle. Esposito. Since he's come on, the young centre-midders look great here. Pasalic to Mail. Could hit it from range. Does hit it from range. Just over the bar. I've still not made any tactical changes, and there's suddenly another highlight. There's part of me that wants to go more defensive. There's also part of me that feels like we have controlled this game on the whole and look good, and wants to continue to attack. Raspadori, another chance. This time it wouldn't have counted. He was offside. But, well, you still would like to see him hit the back of the net, wouldn't you? Even if he's offside there. Roma still on the attack, still committing plenty of men forward. Whilst they are playing this 4-4-2, the way in which they're kind of committing the wide players up, it is very much a 4-2-4 at this stage. And I don't know what Soleil's just done. My head's in my hand. I mean, what do you do? Omar Soleil, I've subbed him on. I've shown him faith. I've trusted him. I shouldn't have trusted him. It was such a nothing ball forward there. He had so much time to deal with it. Could have given it back to the keeper even. Instead, he's kicked it straight to Tammy Abraham, who scores. It's now 2-2. 4 minutes left. I'm going to take off Salcedo for Xerxes. I'm going to move him to a target forward. I'm going to tell the players to hit early crosses. Let's get the ball forward more directly. Less expression. We don't have room for self-expression in our team. In terms of distribution, over the top. Still got a couple of subs if I want to make them. Hatabor hasn't had the greatest game out on the right. I'll tell you what, let's do a bit of a shuffle. Calafiori is going to come on for us, I think. And I still have one sub left. You know what? Pasalecci's given it his all. Malinovsky could be on his way out the door. Can he leave the club with one lasting memory of him getting us a goal here? Let's hope it can happen. I mean, of course, last episode I made a load of attacking changes and nothing happened. So that's probably going to happen again. And indeed, it is going to happen again. A 2-2 draw against Roma. It definitely could have been a worse result. I do feel like maybe we edged out the play. We had slightly more of the ball. We created slightly better quality chances. Ultimately, however, it's not a terrible point. And against a Roma team who have slowly been climbing their way up the league under a bit of a recovery mission with Bielsa after a really bad start, I guess we should be happy about it. Look, we're still in fourth. We're still 2 points clear. Yes, it would have been nice to build up a cushion. But with 16 games left of the year, we are still in an okay little spot right now. So Raspadori did end up picking up the Man of the Match award. I didn't feel like he had a particularly standout game, but I don't know if the game necessarily had that much quality going on. Of course, in terms of what it does to the league, it doesn't really change anything. We're still in fourth. It's a position we've been in for the vast majority of this season at this point. Desperately hoping that as we approach the tail end of the season, we are, of course, going to continue to be here because just as a little reminder, the top four do get a Champions League qualifying spot depending on the winner of the Euro Cup. I thought I'd not read some small print there. As long as no one in Italy wins the Euro Cup outside the top four, that spot is fine. I would settle for that at this point. Now, of course, if Malinovsky leaves us, we are going to have plenty of money to spend. £35 million to go out and spend on a superstar player. I'd be very interested to know what position in the team you'd be looking at if you were me. On the whole, though, I'm relatively happy with the squad balance. I feel like we've got a squad with a little bit of potential now. I feel like part of it is now just a case of being patient and letting players grow into it. But if you think there's any obvious areas I'm missing, I would be interested to know your thoughts on where we can maybe add something in the next couple of weeks down in the comments. Thank you for watching as always today. I hope you enjoyed the match. Gutted that we couldn't get a win, but not a bad result all in all. An action-packed January continues. I'm sure tomorrow when I come back, I'll have plenty of transfers to tell you guys about. And well, until then, until next time, take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow for more. And other than that, it is me, Jack. I'll see you next time. I'm out.